This is the Telescopic World Season 3 Chapter 5. To start off, this episode is about the manner by which the automated digital truncation system operates. When one rejects the fulfillment of affirmational narratives provided by the system as a whole, the narratives which one generates are negated in the same fashion. The manner by which this negation occurs is through the truncation of those narratives according to the manner by which the negation occurred. In other words, if the general meaning of the statements which comprise the substituted narrative retain that affirmational quality, then there is no need to substitute a monologue onto what I call the B side of the recording, and truncate the language of the narrative accordingly. Which is to say, that the system is designed to only interfere with specific narratives, namely those which are negating. In the retention of the affirmational character of the narrative, the specific words used, the cadence, tone and emphasis do not need to be disturbed in any written text. Nevertheless, when the emphasis of the substituted narrative is the problem rather than its affirmational component, errors in pronunciation or emphasis may arise through the digital truncation system. Thus, the manner by which the system interferes with the expression of meaning is a reflection or rather a commentary on the nature of the controller's perspective on the accuracy of the substituted narrative. In other words, it preserves within the exact form of the truncation the character of the perspective of the controllers according to the agenda. Let me give you an example. Suppose you write a story and in that story you are the main character. Now suppose for example that something about you is different than in real life. When you try to generate that narrative, you will find that the digital truncation system will only interfere with tone, cadence, pacing, if it is not affirmational. If it is, they may only interfere with the emphasis, to preserve the affirmational orientation to the negated quality. Now, this makes sense since we know that the projection of one's intention into the panopticon is a manifestation of a lack of vocal attenuation. When one's voice reflects a reverberative quality, when one's voice carries, when one has presence of being there, one's intentionally is reflected in the substance of what actually happens. Thus, the digital truncation system is a larger manifestation of this link between the projection of intention and emphasis attributed to language, within the external world. Finally, continuity plays a key role in vocal attenuation. When appropriating from some individual, ultimately the baseline is preserved in the continuity of signposts, physical objects which reflect some significance to the individual, within the particular, around which the life of the individual is oriented. In order to effectively re-establish a new status quo, it must be reflected in the objects of consciousness. This tells us why digital truncation is so effective. By altering the media produced to reaffirm a status quo, they can undermine the creation of continuity further to a rejection of the consensus reality. That's the end of the podcast for today.